In 2026, renting a basic two-bedroom home in America is starting to feel less like a normal life goal and more like a financial obstacle course with rent, utilities, insurance, taxes, and groceries all waiting to tackle you at the same time. There was a time when a good full-time job meant you could rent a decent place, pay your bills, save a little money, and still order food without checking your bank account first. Today, in many parts of the United States, even people with steady jobs are realizing that rent is not just taking a slice of the paycheck anymore. It is walking into the room, grabbing the whole plate, and asking if anyone is going to finish the fries. According to housing wage data from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, the average worker now needs more than $33 an hour to afford a modest two-bedroom rental home in the United States, without spending more than 30% of income on housing. That works out to almost $70,000 a year. And remember, that is not for a mansion, not for a beach house, not for a luxury apartment with a rooftop pool and a coffee machine that knows your name. We are talking about a modest two-bedroom rental home. And in some states, $70,000 is not even close. Today on the Daily Dig, we are looking at the places where renters need the highest salaries just to afford a basic two-bedroom home. These are the states where the rent is high, the competition is serious, and the phrase affordable housing sometimes sounds like something from a history documentary. We start with Colorado, where a renter needs about $76,500 a year, or around $36.79 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Colorado is one of those states that sells itself without even trying. Mountains, clean air, outdoor life, skiing, hiking, breweries, tech jobs, and people who somehow look healthy even while standing in line for overpriced coffee. For years, Colorado attracted people from all over the country. Some came for the jobs, some came for the lifestyle, and some came because they saw one photo of the Rocky Mountains and decided their entire personality needed to change. But popularity has a price. Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, and many mountain towns have all seen housing become much harder to afford. What used to be a place for people chasing nature and opportunity has become a place where even decent earners can struggle to find a rental that does not eat half their income. The problem is simple. A lot of people want to live there, but housing has not kept up with demand. Remote workers, outdoor lovers, higher-income professionals, and investors all helped push the market upward. Now, many locals feel like the state they grew up in has been turned into an expensive lifestyle brand. Colorado is still beautiful. It is still one of the most attractive states in America. But the rent has climbed so high that the mountain views may be free, but living anywhere near them definitely is not. Next is Florida, where renters need about $77,500 a year, or around $37.27 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Florida used to be known as the place where people moved for sunshine, retirement, beaches, and cheaper living. Sell a house in New York or New Jersey, move to Florida, buy something comfortable, and spend the rest of your life arguing about golf carts, lawn decorations, and which restaurant has the best early bird special. That version of Florida still exists in some places, but it is getting harder to find. Over the last few years, Florida has become one of the biggest migration magnets in the country. People moved there for no state income tax, warm weather, business opportunities, and a different lifestyle. Cities like Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Fort Lauderdale, and Sarasota all saw major housing pressure. And when demand rises that fast, rent does not politely stay the same. It climbs like it is training for a sport. On top of rent, Florida has another problem, the extra costs. Insurance has become a serious issue. Utilities can be high. Homeownership costs have shocked many people who thought the hard part was just buying the house. Even renters can feel the pressure because landlords pass those rising costs along. Florida still has plenty of appeal. The beaches are real, the sunshine is real, and the tax advantage is real. But so is the new cost of living. For many people, Florida is no longer the cheap escape. It is a sunshine state with big city prices and a housing market that keeps testing people's patience. Then we have Maryland, where renters need about $81,400 a year, or around $39.15 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Maryland does not always get talked about the way California, New York, or Florida do, but when it comes to housing costs, it definitely shows up. A big reason is location. Maryland sits right next to Washington, D.C., one of the strongest job markets in the country. Federal jobs, government contractors, healthcare, cybersecurity, defense, education, and technology all bring higher incomes into the region. Higher incomes are great until the housing market notices. Areas near D.C., like Montgomery County and Prince George's County, can be very expensive. Even places connected to Baltimore and the broader job corridor can demand serious money. And while Maryland does have more affordable pockets in the western part of the state and on the eastern shore, the places where most people want or need to live are often the places where rent hits hardest. Maryland also has a strange mix. You can find beautiful coastal towns, historic neighborhoods, suburbs with great schools, and areas with strong job access. But you can also find traffic, taxes, and rent prices that make people wonder why a normal apartment is being priced like it comes with a senator's parking space. For renters, Maryland can be a good state if your income matches the region. But if your paycheck is average, the rent can quickly turn a comfortable life into a monthly math problem. Next is New Jersey, where a renter needs about $83,200 a year, or almost $40 an hour, to afford a two-bedroom rental home. New Jersey has always been expensive, but it has a way of reminding residents about it over and over again. Rent, property taxes, tolls, commuting costs, insurance, and general living expenses all seem to line up at the door and ask for their share. The state does have major advantages. You get access to New York City, Philadelphia, the Jersey Shore, strong schools, dense job markets, and many safe suburban communities. For people who work in Manhattan but do not want to live in Manhattan, New Jersey can make sense. For families looking for schools and access, it can make sense. For professionals who want career opportunities without living directly inside New York City, it can make sense. But makes sense does not always mean feels affordable. Many New Jersey towns have high demand because they offer good schools and strong commuter access. That demand pushes housing costs up. And once property taxes get involved, even homeowners feel the pressure, which eventually influences rents as well. New Jersey is not cheap because it is not just selling housing. It is selling location. It is selling access. It is selling convenience. And unfortunately, convenience in America often comes with a monthly payment that makes you stare at the ceiling for a few seconds before paying it. Then comes Washington State, where renters need about $85,500 a year, or about $11 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Washington is one of the best examples of what happens when a beautiful place becomes a powerful job market. Seattle and the surrounding Puget Sound region have seen huge growth from technology, aerospace, healthcare, trade, and high-paying professional jobs. Big companies brought big salaries brought competition brought higher rent. That is the pattern. Washington has no state income tax, which sounds amazing at first, but the state still finds ways to be expensive. Housing is high, especially around Seattle, Bellevue, Redmond, and other job-heavy areas. Transportation, food, sales taxes, and everyday costs can also add up fast. The natural beauty is incredible. Mountains, water, forests, islands, coffee culture, outdoor life, and city opportunity all exist in one state. But the same reasons people love Washington are the reasons the cost has climbed. For renters, the toughest part is that the good jobs are often concentrated in the same areas where housing is most expensive. If you move farther out to save money, you may pay with time, traffic, and long commutes. If you stay close to work, you pay with rent. Washington is a great state if your income keeps pace with the market. But for many ordinary workers, the rent has moved faster than the paycheck. Now we reach Washington, D.C. It is not technically a state, but it appears in the housing data and ranks near the top. To afford a two-bedroom rental home in D.C., a renter needs about $92,600 a year, or around $44.50 an hour. D.C. is one of the most powerful job markets in the country. Government, law, consulting, nonprofits, lobbying, media, education, defense, and international organizations all have a major presence there. The result is a city full of professionals, ambition, networking, and rents that seem personally offended by normal budgets. Living in D.C. gives you access to museums, monuments, restaurants, public transit, career opportunities, and history everywhere you look. But housing is the big challenge. Desirable neighborhoods are expensive, and even small apartments can cost more than people expect. If you want a reasonable commute, you often pay for it. If you want more space, you may have to move farther away and join the daily commuter marathon. The interesting thing about DC is that some of the best attractions are free. Many museums and national landmarks do not charge admission. That is nice, because after rent, free activities might be the only activities left in the budget. DC can be exciting, powerful, and full of opportunity. But if you are renting there, you need a serious income just to feel stable. Next is Massachusetts, where renters need about $95,500 a year, or around $45.90 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Massachusetts is expensive for many reasons, and most of them lead back to the Boston area. Boston is packed with universities, hospitals, biotech companies, financial firms, tech employers, and highly educated workers. It is one of the strongest knowledge economy regions in America. That also means housing demand is intense. Boston and its surrounding suburbs have limited space, high demand, strict development challenges in many areas, and a steady flow of students, professionals, researchers, doctors, engineers, and finance workers. When a region has that many people competing for housing, rent goes up quickly. Massachusetts also has some of the best schools, historic towns, coastal areas, and job opportunities in the country. But the price of entry can be brutal. Even outside Boston, many communities remain expensive because people want good schools, safety, and access to the city. It is a state with deep history, strong institutions, and real opportunity. But renters often pay for that opportunity every single month. In Massachusetts, a good salary may not feel like a good salary once rent. Utilities, transportation, childcare, and taxes all take their turn. Then comes New York, where renters need about $95,700 a year, or around $46.03 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. New York State is complicated because New York City is not the whole state, but it is powerful enough to dominate the conversation. Upstate New York has many places where the cost of living is far more reasonable. Cities like Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany can be much more affordable than Manhattan or Brooklyn. But New York City changes everything. The city offers opportunity on a scale few places can match. Finance, media, fashion, law, tech, entertainment, education, restaurants, global business, and culture all collide in one place. People move there from around the world because New York still carries that dream. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. The problem is that making it there often starts with paying a frightening amount for not much space. In New York City, rent can turn a professional salary into a survival plan. You may earn what sounds like a strong income in another state, then arrive in New York and realize your apartment search has different rules. Space is limited, demand is massive, and every neighborhood has its own price shock. New York gives you energy, opportunity, culture, food, transit, and ambition. But it also gives you $20 lunches, tiny apartments, expensive everything, and the feeling that your bank account is being tested for character development. New York can be amazing, but affordable. That depends on where you live, what you earn, and how much space you are willing to give up. Now we get to Hawaii, where renters need about $102,300 a year, or around $49.19 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Beaches, mountains, volcanoes, sunsets, warm weather, ocean views, and a culture that makes the islands feel completely different from the mainland. But living in paradise is not cheap. Hawaii has a basic economic challenge. It is far from everything. Many goods have to be shipped or flown in. Food, fuel, building materials, household items, and everyday products often cost more because getting them there costs more. Land is limited, housing supply is tight, and demand stays strong because obviously a lot of people would like to live in Hawaii. That creates a difficult reality for locals. The beauty is real, but so is the price. Rent is high, groceries are high, utilities can be high, and wages do not always match the cost of living. For many residents, the issue is not whether Hawaii is worth loving. It is whether they can afford to stay. Hawaii gives you scenery that feels unreal, but the grocery receipt brings you back to reality very quickly. It is a place where the ocean may calm your mind, but the rent can raise your blood pressure. Before we reach the most expensive place on the list, make sure to subscribe to the Daily Dig. We dig into the real numbers, real places, and real-life costs behind the headlines. If you enjoy videos like this, Hit the like button and tell us in the comments which state feels the most overpriced to you. And finally, at the top of the list is California, where renters need about $103,200 a year, or around $49.61 an hour to afford a two-bedroom rental home. California being expensive is not exactly breaking news. At this point, calling California expensive is like saying the ocean is wet or Los Angeles has traffic. But the numbers are still shocking. Nearly $50 an hour just to afford a modest two-bedroom rental home is a serious benchmark. California has almost everything people want. Beaches, mountains, national parks, entertainment, technology, agriculture, major universities, global cities, strong job markets, and some of the best weather in the country. You can live near the ocean, in the desert, in the mountains, in wine country, in a tech hub, in a film industry center, or in a farming region. Few states offer that much variety, but all of that demand meets one massive problem. Housing supply has not kept up where people want to live most. Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, Orange County, and many coastal areas are extremely expensive. Even inland parts of California have become more expensive as people search for cheaper alternatives. When people get priced out of the coast, they move inland. Then inland prices rise too. California also has high taxes, high fuel costs, expensive insurance in some areas, traffic, and a homelessness crisis that has become part of the state's public image. The job opportunities can be excellent, but the cost of participating in that economy is huge. In the past, 6 figures meant you were doing very well. In parts of California, 6 figures can mean you are stable, but not rich. You can pay rent, cover bills, maybe save a little, and still wonder why your paycheck disappears so fast. California remains powerful, beautiful, and full of opportunity. But for renters, it is the most expensive state on this list for a reason. The dream is still there, but the price tag has become harder and harder to ignore. So what does this tell us? It tells us that renting in America has changed. The problem is not just one city, one coast, or one political region. It is showing up in mountain states, beach states, tech states, government hubs, and old northeastern markets. The pressure may look different in each place, but the result is the same. Ordinary renters need higher and higher incomes just to afford ordinary homes. For some people, the answer is moving to a cheaper state. For others, it is finding roommates, changing careers, delaying family plans, commuting farther, or spending more of their income on housing than financial experts recommend. None of those choices are easy. A two-bedroom home used to feel like a normal step in life. Now, in many states, it feels like something you have to qualify for with a professional salary, perfect paperwork, and a little bit of luck. That is the reality of renting in America in 2026. Some places still offer better value, but in the most expensive states, the cost of a basic home has moved far beyond what many workers can comfortably afford. Thanks for watching the Daily Dig. Be sure to subscribe for more videos where we break down the places, numbers, and trends shaping everyday life in America. And until next time,